The honourable member for Prince Albert.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to speak on Canada's Economic Action Plan for 2015, the budget. And I'm excited about this budget. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I only have 10 minutes because I will be sharing my time with the member from Medicine Hat. And even though I only have 10 minutes, there's so much in this budget I want to talk about. But before I do that, I just want to congratulate the member from Medicine Hat. I understand this will probably be the last budget he'll be presenting on. I just want to acknowledge the great work he did in the Ag Committee and the great work he's done in the background here in Ottawa to represent the constituents of Medicine Hat. He does such a wonderful job, and we'll definitely miss him. But you know, Mr. Speaker, we want to talk about the budget, and I want to talk about how the budget and what it means to the people of Saskatchewan and what it means to the people in particular the riding of Prince Albert. You know, one thing I found out when I went throughout the ridings and did our pre-budget consults, and when I talked to constituents, they said, you know what, Randy? You need to be focused on jobs and the economy. You really need to be focused on doing the things that are right so that our kids have jobs here in Saskatchewan for now and into the future. Well, that's one thing that this budget definitely presents. When you look at that, you've got a balanced budget. It's balanced. They're excited and they're happy about that. Saskatchewan's the only province that has a provincially balanced budget, and now we have a federally balanced budget, and the people of Saskatchewan respects and understands the importance of that. Not only that, we're going to have a surplus of $1.4 billion. $1.4 billion surplus. That's huge, Mr. Speaker. When you look at what we had to face in 2008 with the economic downturn and recession and how we handled that and how we had to go into deficit in order to provide the jobs and the growth that was required to keep people working right across this great country. You know, we did that in such a strategic way. We put in water treatment plants, we put in sewage, we put in roads, we put in the infrastructure that is required for our economy to grow into the future. So we're excited to see the fact that we're going to be, you know, basically the best debt to GDP ratio in the G7. And, you know, 1.2 million net new jobs created, and those are high-paying jobs. So again, when they talk to me about being focused on the economy, this budget is definitely focused on the economy. The other thing that they asked about is, can you support the family? What can you do to help the families to make sure that they become strong and they thrive throughout this? And boy, we've done that since we've come into power. In fact, Mr. Speaker, when you look at the support we've given to families, an average family has had $6,600 in their pocket to spend because of this government. We've done things in such a way that we've balanced the books, but we've also allowed the taxpayers and families to keep money in their pockets. And that's $6,600 that they can spend as they see fit. You know, Mr. Speaker, there's other things we've done for families. When you look back to previous budgets, we've increased the amount Canadians can give and earn tax-free. We've removed over 1 million Canadians from the tax rules. We've introduced the Children's Arts Tax Credit, the Children's Fitness Tax Credit, the Family Caregiver Tax Credit, the First-Time Donor Super Credit. A lot of examples of what this government has done that's progressive and beneficial to all Canadians, and that's going to be exciting because I know when I go back to the riding of Prince Albert this weekend, they're going to say thank you for doing these types of things. You know, we've also expanded the universal child care benefit. Mr. Speaker, for a child under 6, you're now going to get $160 a month, not $100. $160 a month. If you're at the age of 6 to 17, you're going to get $60 a month. $60 a month that you never received before. That's exciting, and they're going to thank us for that, and I know they are excited because that's something they asked for. We're going to introduce the family tax cut. You know, we're going to let the family decide how they want to raise their family, but also how they want to have their income split. And that is a great thing. When you think about it, when you can take your income and split it with your spouse or partner and bring down your overall family tax to such a rate that you can benefit your entire family structure, what is wrong with that? That is such a positive and progressive tax idea. It's just wonderful, and I think Canadian families are really going to be appreciative of that fact, that they're going to be able to share their income, look at it, and actually make decisions based on what's best for their family and their family situation. Mr. Speaker, when we go through looking at what we've done, you know, let's talk about what we've done for small businesses. You know, the tax rate has reduced from what was 12% to 11%, and now it's going to go down to 9%. 9%. That's fabulous. When you go to the business community, the small business guy, that's the little bit of relief that he can take advantage of and actually go and hire another student or hire another employee. You know, Mr. Speaker, that's a big deal. And that means a lot. It acknowledges that we understand small business, and we're going to help them as they grow their businesses. And hopefully someday as they grow their small and medium enterprises and they take on trade and look outside the great country of Canada, we'll be there to support them with benefits like EDC and BDC and allow them to take advantage of this big market that we're opening up for Canadian enterprises. You That's one thing this government has done very well compared to previous government, and that is the aggressiveness that we've been into the world market, signing up free trade agreements with countries like Chile and Peru, Colombia, Honduras, or just a few in the Western Hemisphere. CETA is going to be a tremendous, tremendous agreement for Canada. And of course, as we look forward to agreements like TPP and Canada-Japan, these types of agreements are actually going to cement our ability to grow and foster our economy and take advantage of markets and have preferential access compared to our competitors, at least be on a level playing field with them. And again, the benefits will come back right into every small town in Saskatchewan, so we're excited about seeing that. We've also got support for seniors in this budget, Mr. Speaker. Seniors came to us and said, you know what, we want you to change what we have to withdraw. It's not fair. So we did that. We made that change in the RIF so that they can actually withdraw as they see fit. The minimum is different now. That, again, is a benefit that will help seniors as they go through and enjoy their retirement years for sure. Another small thing that a lot of Canadians have been taking advantage of is the tax-free savings account, the doubling of the amount from $5,000 to $10,000. Now, a lot of people may not put $10,000 in it. Some may put $6,000, some may put $5,000, some will put $2,000 or $3,000, but it's there. And if they should come across some cash and they want to go $10,000 one year, they've got the ability to do that. And I look at that as part of the suite of packages that you have when you plan for retirement. So when you look at RRSPs, you look at the tax-free savings account, when you look at your pensions, you've got a suite of things that you can work with as you plan for your retirement, and that'll be something that'll pay dividends greatly into the future years as we see Canadians go into more retirement years down the road. When I look at the farming community, the average age of farmers is getting older. And that's something that has to be a reality that we're looking at to see what we can do to bring more young farmers in. And the best thing you can do to bring more young farmers in is actually give them a market to sell their product in. And by removing the Canadian Wheat Board and giving farmers the freedom, we're starting to see a whole pile of young farmers coming into the agriculture community. This is exciting. When you go to a town hall or if you go to the post office, it's funny. You walk in there and I look around and I don't recognize a lot of these young people that are in our community. They've come back to farm. They come back to take advantage of raising a family on the farm. But in order for them to do that, they realize that they have to buy the land and somebody has to sell the land. So we have a large number of farmers throughout the age that want to retire. The $1 million capital gains exemption for the selling of farmland is huge to them. These guys have worked hard. The families have worked hard. They've gone through a lot of things throughout the past 30, 40 years. They've seen droughts, they've seen floods, they've seen they've had their hands tied by the Canadian Wheat Board. They've seen rail issues. Every year there's something new, and they've had to deal with it. Yet they still claw their way through, survive, and thrive. And now as they approach retirement years and they go to sell their assets, this will allow them to have a proper nest egg as they go into retirement years. And I think that's just appropriate, and it's something that they asked for, and it's something that we provided in this budget. So, Mr. Speaker, I know the farming community is very excited about that, but the other things that we did for them was the export market development programs. So again, $20 million over 2 years, helping them expand their exports. We grow more than we could ever consume here in Canada, so we have to be able to export that product around the world to get the maximization of prices here in Canada. And every once in a while, you need to have some help in market development to sell those products that we normally don't consume here in Canada. So this $20 million will definitely go a long ways. Again, whether you're talking about farmers or small business and small, medium enterprises, one thing they've told us in the Trade Committee is that they wanted to see us enhance the Trade Commissioner's services. That's something we've done in this budget. In 2015, we put $14.3 million over 2 years and $9.3 million per year thereafter to expand the footprint and resources of the Canadian Trade Commissioners. These guys are great. They're located throughout the world. So if you're a small, medium enterprise and you're going to a new market, let's say you're going into Brazil, you phone up the Trade Commissioner and say, this is the product I want to sell. I'm going to go into Brazil. What can you do to help me? And they actually will go into the marketplace and they'll say, you know what, here's some really good potential partners. Here's some potential customers. Here's the things and nuances you need to know about this marketplace. They do that over and over again to help small and medium enterprises take that leap into becoming an export country. Mr. Speaker, 10 minutes is definitely not enough to talk about this budget. But one thing I will say about this budget, when I go back in the riding tonight and tomorrow and throughout the week and talking to people, they are going to be happy with this budget. In fact, I called it a blue jean budget because anybody who's ever worn blue jeans will receive a benefit from this budget. And I'm excited about that. I'm proud to say that I'm part of it, and I'm proud to say that this Conservative government did keep its word. It did balance the budget, and in fact, going forward, we'll have balanced budgets that will leave our economy strong going into the future for our kids and grandchildren. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question et commentaire à l'honorable député de Portneuf-Jacques-Cartier.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Puis je veux remercier mon collègue pour son discours. Alors, je l'ai entendu, comme plusieurs de ses collègues, vanter la bonification de la prestation universelle pour garde d'enfants, mais ce que je ne l'ai pas entendu mentionner, par contre, et ce que les Canadiens doivent savoir, c'est que cette prestation-là, ce sera considéré comme un revenu imposable. Alors, ce sera taxé. Les Canadiens ne pourront pas bénéficier de l'ensemble de cette mesure-là parce qu'ils devront en mettre de côté pour s'assurer d'avoir suffisamment de sous pour payer leurs taxes l'année suivante et pas avoir de mauvaises surprises. Je pense que c'est important que les gens soient bien informés et prennent ça en considération pour bien juger cette mesure-là ici. Et moi, ce que je ne comprends pas ici, c'est pourquoi le gouvernement n'offre pas un choix, un véritable choix aux familles canadiennes de pouvoir à la fois bénéficier de mesures fiscales telles que ce genre de crédit-là, tout en pouvant aussi bénéficier de places en garderie à 15 $ maximum par jour. Alors, ça permet de combler un plus grand spectre de besoins chez nos familles canadiennes. Alors, les gens qui ne sont pas en mesure d'avoir accès à des services de garderie privée ou qui ne font pas ce choix-là ont quand même accès à des places abordables. Alors, je me demande pourquoi ce choix-là n'est pas disponible dans le budget canadien comme le propose le NPD.
The honourable member for PrinceAlbert.
Well, thank you. And, Mr. Speaker, I hope I get as much time to ask the question as she took to ask it. Mr. Speaker, you know, when they talked about the NDP plan for $15 a day daycare, what a joke. In Kinistino, Saskatchewan, how is a family going to take advantage of $15 a day daycare when they work 12, 18 hours a day? So, I'm sorry, the 9 to 5 unionized worker from 9 to 5 that wants to provide this service isn't available in Kinistino. That family will not be working from 9 to 5. They work at 6 in the morning till midnight in harvest and spring seeding. If you're working at shift work, this program does absolutely nothing for the average Canadian. But what does work, Mr. Speaker, what does work is giving that money to the families and let them decide how they want to raise their kids. If it's grandma, if one of the spouses or partners wants to stay home, that's their choice. So let's leave the money with the people that actually earned it and know how best to spend it. Unlike the NDP who want to take every dollar out of your pocket and dictate to you, just like as if you're 2 years old, okay, you get $10, you get $5, you voted NDP, you get $25. No, Mr. Speaker, let's leave the money in taxpayers' pockets and they can do as they see fit.
Questions and comments, honourable member for Charlottetown.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask this honourable member about poor seniors, those seniors who are living in poverty. Almost immediately upon obtaining their majority government, this government decided to increase the age of eligibility for old age security and the guaranteed income supplement from 65 to 67. The result of that is to take $28,000 from the pockets of our poorest seniors. And so my question for this member is this. Within this budget, those seniors who've had their pockets picked to the extent of $28,000, which of the measures is going to help them most? Is it the TFSAs, the RRIFs, or the income splitting?
The honourable member for PrinceAlbert.
Mr. Speaker, maybe I better explain that it's 2023 when this actually will take place, where the seniors go from 65 to 67. Not today. Not today. There's been no pickpocketing of any senior here today at all. In fact, if you looked at it now, Mr. Speaker, with the changes in RRIFs, they're going to have more flexibility on the money that they've saved and how they're going to spend it. So don't be confused by liberal smear and confusion campaigns. Let's look at the truth here, Mr. Speaker. Seniors are better off. You know, this government, Mr. Speaker, took 1 million people off the tax rolls. 1 million people no longer pay taxes. That's this government. That's not a Liberal government. Liberal government, when they are in power, yeah, they balanced the books, but that was at the expense of seniors' health, my health, and everybody else's health, and how they cut to the provinces. That was shameful, Mr. Speaker. We balanced the budget without going to the provinces and reducing the transfers to the provinces. They did not. In fact, if you look at the transfers to the health care, they're increasing year after year after year, yet we still have a balanced budget and a surplus of $1.4 billion. What can they complain about? Nothing. So they make up things, and that's what this member has done.